So I'm going to move on. I've got one last thing before I get to the Q&A. And it's something that's, again, not that I want to end on a negative, because I will end on a positive in the Q&A, but I'm going to end the main section, sadly, on a bit of a negative. Okay, so I think you have to, I said right at the start, there were two elephants in the room, with one of those being the scheduling, and the other one being the Victor courts being slippery again. So in the early rounds, especially, but we saw this throughout. I noticed this when I first watched Christo Popov in his first round against Lakshya. Both players were slipping. I saw one particular incident with Christo where he did one of those slips where your foot slides forward. I've seen many an Achilles go in that situation. Fortunately, he wasn't injured in that way. He was able to continue, but you could see it did affect him slightly. But we also saw it on the day before when Ben Lane and Sean Vendy played against the eventual winners, actually, Wang Qilin and Che Si. Well, I can't remember his name, but Che. So obviously, they were slipping around, and that match, the doubles match, actually caught the eye of Kim Astrup, who put onto his story something about BWF needs to do something about these courts because it's only a matter of time before someone seriously gets injured. Thankfully, no one did, but there was still, throughout the week, every match I watched, someone slipped or another. And actually, I think I was watching Jonathan Christie and a number of other singles players, but especially Christie. Every time in defense, you can see his foot like wobble. It's like as he goes to split and push, because when you obviously like defend or when you move off, you kind of drop your feet and you kind of push the court away. It's like you kind of like doing like a skating move, drop down, push, drop down, push, drop down, push. And every time you could see Christie just being a little bit unstable, but his legs are so strong and he's so sturdy that he's obviously able to kind of correct that. But still, I noticed a number of slippings from players. And obviously it just gets me kind of questioning is, why isn't BWF doing something about this? I'm speaking to Victor, like the brand Victor, because it's always the Victor courts. I think their matted courts are a little smoother in comparison to the Onyx ones, so they're a little bit more forgiving if you're kind of diving or scraping. But obviously you do sacrifice a little bit of grip for that. So I'm surprised that BWF hasn't got some regulations around what's required for, like, I don't know how you would term it, what the term would be, but grippiness of a court or safety, because it's been an issue for a while. I remember when it first kind of came out. Well, it's been out longer than this, I'll tell you in a second, but I think it was at the Thomas Cup or something that was held in Thailand, and there were a number of players slipping like absolute crazy on the Victor courts, and people were chalking out to the fact that obviously the humidity in Thailand combined with the courts being a bit smoother was why there was a little bit of moisture on the courts, and that's why players were slipping more. But obviously you can't really claim humidity in the south of Germany in October or late October. It's definitely not that humid in Germany at this time of year. So obviously that's not a factor. I think it is a little bit smoother. And I think this has been an issue with Victor courts, even when I played. I played at obviously a slightly lower level, but I can remember going to tournaments like one in Austria where it was played on the Victor courts, or in Croatia, actually. There was one tournament, I might even have a video of it at Croatia, and I got to the quarterfinals, and the court I played on, it was an honest ice rink, and that was a Victor court, very smooth, and I know the courts they're using at the Hylo Open would be of a higher quality than the ones I played at. They looked a bit old, a bit ragged, but still, it's been an issue with Victor courts for a long time, and I don't know whether BWF have the power. They certainly should do. If they don't, they have obviously regulations about what organisers, or they're definitely getting this when they change in 2027, trying to get more power, obviously, of what they expect from organisers in terms of the facilities for the players, for the practice courts, for the staff, for the spectators, all these things. There's like a big checklist of what a venue must supply, and I would be very surprised if they don't have that over the quality of the courts, because in badminton, just slightly slipping is just dangerous, because you can see players kind of uncertain to move. Obviously, sudden slips. Badminton is you're going not just left, right, forward, back, but up, down. There's so many change in directions that a little slip like that can cause a major injury, and it can ruin a player's career. The players' careers are in their hands in a way. Rubbish shuttles. Yeah, it's annoying to watch, but it's not going to injure someone too much, unless it's like so slow that your shoulder falls off. But courts, that's something personally that I think, and the fact that this has been an issue for a while, that, you know, it's almost become synonymous. Victor courts become synonymous with slipping. Whenever I see Victor, I'm like, we're going to see some slippages this week. The fact that that's kind of happened, I'm surprised Victor themselves aren't trying to kind of do something about it. I don't know if they are, but I do think BWF need to kind of, if they're not already, they need to intervene and go, right, we need your courts to be better, or we simply can't use you as a sponsor. So it'd be interesting. I'm not trying to, yeah. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that one. It's just, for me, again, I think it's with like a few other things. It seems like it should be a relatively simple solution. Just, I don't know, make the courts grippier. Is it that simple? I don't know. I'll pass over to you anyway. I'm going to move on to the Q&A because there's really not much else I can say about the slippery.